face elimination. On the other side, one team has already advanced. Tennessee went 2-0 against Georgia. They're in OKC. How many teams will join the Lady Vols today, or will we have, if necessary, games on Sunday? We're about to find out here in Tuscaloosa, but we begin today by talking about yesterday. And what a performance by Jocelyn Brisky. 11 strikeouts, retired the last 21 Tigers she faced. Run support, Alexis Papillo with the home run. Jenna Young with the bases loaded, a double in the fourth inning. Alabama put 7 on the board. LSU was shut out by Brisky, and the Crimson Tide picked up the win. Great to have you with us with the Tennessee All-American Madison Shipman. I'm Eric Freed. And when you think about the big picture today, 14 teams are playing today, Madison. 13 have something in common. They've all trailed in a game at one point in the NCAA tournament. One team is uncommon, and that's Alabama, because they haven't trailed because they haven't given up a run yet.
There's only one way to describe what Alabama's pitching staff has done during the postseason. It is absolute dominance. And we saw that again from Jocelyn Brisky last night. Right from the beginning of the game, Jayla Laster comes out, hits a double out to center field. After that, as you mentioned, Eric, she retired every single batter the rest of the game. She was on fire. She was working up. She was working down. And now in game 2 of this Super Regional, Alabama is going to look to their freshman, who has also had a 20-win season this year for the Crimson Tide. And one thing that's going to be similar, she's going to throw a little bit similar arsenal to what we saw from Jocelyn Brisky yesterday. So will she take another game plan, kind of work with her on what she thought that she did well against these LSU Tigers, and see if she can use that to her advantage against this offense?
Pressure for LSU in the circle on Jaden Heavener. She's someone who beat Oklahoma this year. She's got a lot of skill. Can she get it done today is the big question.
The Tiger season all comes on Jaden Heavener's shoulders, and we know that she can be very dominant when she's out there in the circle. She comes from the left side, and she's had 4 different games this year where she's had double-digit strikeouts. The question to me is going to be, can she stay in the zone? Can she work her pitches and her spin and her velocity through that strike zone to try to hold down this Alabama offense, because they've been on fire as well as the pitching.
Alabama will be the visiting team, so you'll see Heavener in the circle, and you'll hear the Rhodes house go crazy today. It's a packed house, ready for game 2 in Tuscaloosa. The first pitch is next. Ready for the first pitch between LSU and Alabama in game 2. We take a look at Alabama's starting lineup, brought to you by Capital One. Jenna Young setting the table for the Crimson Tide.
Well, you know, it's got to give these pitchers for Alabama a ton of confidence when their offense is able to go out there in game 1 of the Super Regional and put up a 7 spot. A lot of that has to do with the performance by Jenna Young right in that leadoff spot, and Alexis Papillo, who hit a home run out to right field. That was an absolute laser. So they're looking for a couple of those lefties to continue being dominant against another lefty that we're going to see out there in the circle today for LSU.
You can see the sun shining, which is good news. It poured at this time yesterday, poured for a long time. There's a chance of heavy rain later in the day. We look pretty good right now at this 2:05 Central Time first pitch. Temp in the low 80s, high humidity, ready to go with Jaden Heavener facing Jenna Young. Starts her with strike 1.
That first pitch is a great example of what you're going to see from Heavener. 69 miles per hour on that first pitch. You're going to see her walk numbers on this season. 74 walks in 132 1/3 innings pitched for Heavener this year.
Get a look at it there. She can be wild, and that's going to be very important today for her to have command.
I will say, you've heard me say, though, that not all walks are created equal. So I do think that she can get away with a walk here and there, but it's being able to come back and get that very next out with the rise ball, with the curve ball, and that changeup that she's going to bring in there to Alabama. For the most part, you're going to see her working that rise ball and that curve ball more at the top of the zone. But if she can be able to mix in that changeup and, more importantly, mix it in there for strikes, that's where she's going to be able to have success against this lineup.
120 strikeouts in 132 innings of work. Young fouls it off. Young in her 8th game in the leadoff spot, 10 for 24 in the 1 spot, 338 now on the season. Hit a couple of home runs in the Tuscaloosa Regional in the final game of the Regional. 7 for 15 in the tournament with 7 runs batted in. She has not walked in her time as a leadoff batter. She's up there swinging. Swing and a miss. Heavener gets the strikeout to get things started. 1 away.
As a batter, too, when you know that a pitcher has a tendency to be effectively wild, that can kind of get in the back of your mind, too. You're thinking, is she going to come back with a pitch in the zone, or is it going to be way out of the zone? And in that case, Jenny Young ends up taking a hack at a rise ball that was way up and away, but it's strikeout number 1 on the day for Huebner.
Brooke Wells was 0 for 4 yesterday. Huebner starts with ball 1. Wells now at 388 on the season, second on the team in hitting. 3 for 14 in the NCAA tournament. Home run came in game 3 of the regionals. Alabama has outscored the opposition 27-0 so far as Wells takes the ball. Mentioned Huebner beating Oklahoma this season. That was on March 28th. 3-1 the final. A 2-hitter, didn't give up a run. Went the distance. That ended Oklahoma's 22-game winning streak and the first LSU win over Oklahoma since 2015. So Huebner's been in big spots with a lot on the line, but none bigger than today because the season is on the line for the Tigers.
And I really think that she's a pitcher that's not fazed by giving up a walk or hitting a batter every once in a while. She's still going to go out there and continue to work, and that's part of her game. As you see another pitch that's getting past Macy Bajoran. Got to give a shout out to Bajoran early in this game too, because as we talk about Jaden Huebner being effectively wild, you know that makes the job for the catcher back behind the plate that much more difficult to try to keep these pitches in front of her.
Madison mentioned 74 walks for Huebner on the season. She's also hit 24 batters. Her whip coming into the game is a 1.4. Slow roller to the shortstop, Edwards, across to Edwards. That's Kylie to Torrey, 2 down.
Write that down in our scorebook, the Edwards to Edwards out.
So here's Alexis Papillo. I know you were curious to see how Papillo would approach Huebner, where she would stand in the box.
And we saw her yesterday with her toes right up on that chalk line, and when she's getting in right now, she's actually off of the plate quite a bit.
Ball 1.
I almost felt like we might see Papillo get a little bit closer to the plate to try to take away that inside part of the zone for Jaden Huebner. She does like to throw arm side, which is going to be inside to the lefties and away to the right-handed batters. And she's kind of opening up that inside part of the zone there.
2-0. Papillo now leading the team in hitting after going 2 for 4 with that home run yesterday. 399. She's been incredibly consistent all season long. Big jump from last year when she hit 302 for the Crimson Tide in her first season after transferring over from Northern Iowa. Fouls off the 2-0. It's 2-1. Alabama as a team hitting 330 through 4 games in the tournament. 7 home runs, giving them 96 on the season. It's good for 11th in Division I. I think UCLA is safe at number 1. Alabama's going to have to go on a run because they're 100 home runs behind UCLA right now, which is almost impossible to believe.
No, when you're having the seasons that Megan Grant and Jordan Woolery are, that home run total is going to climb very quickly.
2-2 the count to Papillo. 2 down in the first. Popped up. Going to be close. Avery Hodge does have plenty of room, and you could not ask for a better start for LSU for Huebner in the circle. 3 up, 3 down for the Crimson Tide in the first. Tigers coming to the plate when we come back. A capacity crowd and then some here at Rhodes Stadium. They're looking for any spot they can find on the grass, in the Brickyard, you name it, to watch LSU and Alabama as we take a look at the LSU starting lineup, brought to you by Capital One with Jayla Lassiter once again at the top. This is the same lineup that Beth Torina has used in all 5 NCAA tournament games.
And Jayla Lassiter really got things going on a solid note with that leadoff double in the first inning, but that was all that LSU was going to get the rest of the game with the way that Jocelyn Brisky was throwing. But you know, this offense is looking to Lassiter to set the tone again today against a freshman who's getting the start in a big game in the circle for the Crimson Tide, Vic Moten. She's had a fantastic season so far. That 1.66 ERA, 52 walks, so a little bit more than what we saw from Jocelyn Brisky, but she does have those 163 strikeouts so far on the season.
Moten got the start in game 3 of the regional final, went 6, gave up just 1 hit. Alabama pitching, posting back-to-back one-hitters entering play here today. And Moten starts with strike 1 to Lassiter.
Going to be a similar arsenal to what we saw from Jocelyn Brisky. High 60s to low 70s from Vic Moten with that rise ball and that drop ball combination. Now with both of those pitches, she's going to work all 4 zones. So that rise ball is not just going to stay up at the top all day. That drop ball is not just going to stay at the bottom of the zone. But she even told us that she can kind of manipulate her pitches to move in different directions depending upon what she's seeing from these batters for LSU.
And what we'll see from Vic Moten is a little intensity. She gets fired up, gets the strikeout, 1 down.
You're going to see that passion and that fire and that energy from Vic Moten when she's out there in the circle, and the rest of the team feeds off of it. This is the drop ball. She works that pitch outside, and look at how much setting the tone right there from the very first batter means to the freshman.
Sierra Daniel, junior second baseman, steps in. 3 flyouts yesterday, 4 for 14 in the tournament. 335 now on the season. 2-0. Now Moten can run into some control problems. She did not in the regional final against Upstate, 2-1. But she has issued 52 walks on the season. The rest of the staff combined has issued 51 walks for Alabama.
Well, we saw Jocelyn Brisky go the distance yesterday, not giving up 1 free pass.
2-2.
There's Jocelyn Brisky over there in the dugout charting. Ailey Johnson also on the pitching staff right there next to her. Brea Hodges. So the whole entire pitching staff is right up there on that fence line in the dugout cheering on the freshman.
Who has back-to-back strikeouts, looking 2 down.
This is a great example of one of the pitches that she's just going to put a little bit extra on. So she's going to get some arm side run on this pitch. It's a low rise ball, so it's going to start right about shin high and then end up right at the bottom of the zone. And that is the type of intensity that we have seen from Vic Moten all season long.
Ball 1 to Kylie Edwards. Junior shortstop at 343, hitting 333 in the NCAA tournament. Once again, Moten falls behind 2-0. Kylie hit .290 a season ago with Mississippi State. Has upped her game in Baton Rouge, 2-1. First team all-conference selection in the SEC this year. Ball 3. 13 strikeouts for Alabama pitching in this super regional so far. The 11 for Brisky yesterday, 2 quick ones for Moten here today. Ground ball, and there's a base hit. Second hit of the super for LSU. Edwards is aboard with 2 down.
That's going to be a trend that I'm going to continue to watch if LSU can take advantage when they're in those hitter leverage counts. 3-1 count. We did not see that very often when Brisky was out there in the circle yesterday. I'd imagine LSU's going to try to be a bit more patient and disciplined up in the batter's box today against Vic Moten.
Strike 1 to Alex Franklin. Get the feeling the sophomore couldn't wait for today to get here. Struck out 3 times yesterday against Brisky. Chatted with Beth Torina, the head coach, before the game. LSU kept their usual routine. They came over here for early hitting this morning. Try to flush last night as quickly as possible. And be ready to go here on a new day with their season on the line. 0-2 the count now to Franklin. Moten gets her third strikeout, and that does it for LSU in the first. The freshman making her second appearance in the NCAA tournament, ready to go, scoreless after one. 3 in Norman tomorrow. Florida with a 9-2 lead over Texas Tech. We welcome those of you who watched Oklahoma keep their season alive with a 7-1 win over Mississippi State. Welcome to Rhodes Stadium in Tuscaloosa. First pitch of the second inning is a fly ball off the bat of Anna Roman. And she's retired by Jaden Heavner. Eric Freed, Madison Shipman, and our crew here at a packed Rhodes House on a warm but dry Saturday afternoon. Both teams scoreless in the first. Jaden Heavner getting the start for LSU, and she had a 1-2-3 first inning, Maddie.
1-2-3 first inning with that strikeout of Jenna Young to start things off. Command is looking very sharp so far.
And if you're just joining us, that's going to be the important thing. Heavner has struggled with her control, but when she has had command and had control, she has been electric at times this season, and LSU needs it. They're facing elimination.
Their season rides on Jaden Heavner's shoulders, so she has no choice but to go right after these Alabama batters.
Popped up and out of play by Marley Giles. Second team all-conference selection, 4 for 10 in the tournament with a home run. Was 2 for 3 yesterday. Fixture behind the plate for this Alabama team. One of the seniors who could be playing their final game of their Alabama careers here on their own field. If Alabama wins, it's on to OKC. Ball 1 to Giles.
Now, one thing, too, looking back to last weekend, Alabama had to face Maya Johnson, a lefty out of Belmont. And you saw Marley Giles practically putting her feet right on that chalk line. She's a little bit further back today against Heavner.
That's out of play.
But to me, it was almost as if the righties in this Alabama lineup were trying to take away the outside part of the plate. Now, Maya Johnson has that screwball that she'll throw away to righties, which is very, very effective. But even still, in this situation, I feel like Giles is pretty much towed up on that chalk line. She's pretty close, especially given that Jaden Heavner throws in 68, 69 miles per hour.
Giles with the pop-up. Shallow right field. Alex Franklin moves over, and she's got it. 2 down. Alabama won the first game of their NCAA tournament, Tuscaloosa Regional, 8-0. Game 2, 3-0. Game 3, 9-0. And yesterday they beat LSU 7-0 on a one-hitter by Jocelyn Brisky.
I'm hearing a common theme with the opponents not being able to score in any one of the postseason games so far for Alabama.
Here is Audrey Vandegrift. Alabama and Tennessee are the only 2 teams who have not trailed at any point in an NCAA tournament game. I think these 2 teams have something else in common. They are number 1 and number 2 in the country in staff ERA. The pitching combination in Tennessee, the combination here at Alabama. It's been a big story and a big difference. Vandegrift trying to bunch her way on. She does that very well. LSU was ready for it, but she fouled it off.
And Tennessee, the trio between Carlin Pickens and Sage Margetko and Aaron Newer. Aaron Newer ended up getting the start in game 2 of that Super Regional against Georgia. Sage Margetko came in relief, but that pitching staff has been fantastic for the Lady Volunteers all season long, and you're seeing similar numbers put up by Vic Moten and Jocelyn Brisky for Alabama.
Heavner couldn't ask for more right now from Jaden Heavner if you are LSU. 6 up, 6 down. She gets her second strikeout as Vandegrift ends the top of the second. Some elite company for Alabama so far. 4 tournament games, 4 shutouts. That's 27 scoreless innings so far, and they've outscored their opponents 27-0 in the NCAA tournament.
Well, you think of some of these pitchers that performed for these teams over here on the left. 2006 for Texas, that's Kat Osterman. 2007 for Tennessee, Monica Abbott. 2014 for Florida, Hannah Rogers. 2015 for Florida, the combination of Lauren Hager and Alicia Ocasio. The list goes on and on of the dominant pitchers. And being a hitter myself, you know it's hard for me to say this, but dominant pitching is going to take you deep into the postseason. That has been a fact about the game of softball till the end of time, is that if you've got a hot hand in the circle, they can carry you all the way.
Vic Moten starts with strike one to Tori Edwards. And you're a team like Alabama that has two equally hot hands. I mean, it's going to be tough for Moten to match what Brisky did yesterday. She gave up that double to start the game and then retired the next 21 Tigers. But we've seen Moten come out, attack the zone, attack hitter. She gave up the hit to Edwards, Kylie Edwards with 2 down, but ended up getting 3 strikeouts in the first inning.
To your point, Eric, I don't think that Vic Moten needs to come out here and try to match the strikeout numbers that Jocelyn Brisky had yesterday, but I do think there's something to be said about taking a page out of the game plan that she had against LSU yesterday, because they do throw so similar. Now, Jocelyn Brisky busted out that changeup yesterday, and it was a great pitch for her.
4 strikeouts for Vic Moten.
But so far, Vic Moten hasn't needed the off speed. You can tell by 3 of the 4 strikeouts today have been looking. She is getting LSU guessing at these pitches. I guarantee Tori Edwards out of the hand is thinking that that's going to be another one of those low rise balls at the bottom of the zone, and instead it's a drop ball dropping off of the table to get another strikeout.
Ball 1 to Macy Bajaran, senior catcher. Struck out twice yesterday, 6 for 12 in the tournament. Really came on at the end of the regular season at the plate, kept it going in the postseason. 2-0. And Marley Giles heading out to have a chat with Vic Moten, and coming out of the dugout will be the pitching coach, Lance McMahon.
Got a chance to talk to Coach Lance McMahon yesterday about how Jocelyn Brisky and Vic Moten both came into this Alabama program being rise ball pitchers. So he taught them how to throw the drop ball, and it's such an important pitch, and for pitchers all across the country to be able to have pitches moving in different directions, because the hitters have the scouts, they have the statistics, they have the analytics to be able to form a game plan against you. But one thing that Alabama has done so well is they have been able to basically look at the game plan from the swings that they're seeing from LSU and throw a completely different pitch based off of what they're seeing, and they've had success with that.
The 2-0. Misses for ball 3. That was interesting because it looked like that conversation may have been initiated by Moten with Giles, and then McMahon came out and he was in listening mode. So I wonder if there's one of the pitches they're calling from the dugout that she doesn't feel like she's got great command of right now. It's hard to say when someone has 4 strikeouts, but now a 4-pitch walk.
Constantly communicating about what they're seeing from their pitches, but also the umpire strike zone. So that's going to dictate the way that Vic Moten throws these pitches, and that Coach McMahon is going to call these pitches.
Now Moten may be slowing things down a little bit. Her corner infielders take a step in to offer her some encouragement as she's thrown 5 straight balls. Before that strike to Char Lorenz, the sophomore left fielder. Lorenz at 262. She's been getting on base at a good clip in the postseason. 4 hits, 4 walks, 3 runs scored. One thing that LSU was unable to do yesterday, because Brisky just continued to pound the strike zone. They didn't walk. They barely put the ball in play. They barreled up 2 balls all game long. There was no traffic on the bases. LSU at least trying to work a walk here, just try to manufacture something to make Alabama sweat a little bit here in the field.
That's why, to your point, I think this at bat by Char Lorenz is so important, because what do you do, the batter, after you get somebody on base, when you finally get traffic on the base paths?
The drop, bottom drops out. Strikeout number 5, 2 down.
The base hit by Kylie Edwards in the first inning was followed up by a strikeout swinging on the drop ball. This time the walk to Macy Bajaran is followed up by another strikeout on the drop ball. That pitch has such late bite down in the zone that you're seeing these batters swing at that pitch almost as if it's going to stay knee high. That late movement is a product of all the hard work to learn a completely new pitch this offseason.
Number 8 hitter Allie Hutchins, designated player. A couple of hits, a couple of walks in the NCAA tournament. Batting with 2 down here in the second. 2-0. I know you mentioned before about it's probably not fair to Vic Moten to compare what she's doing today to what Jocelyn Brisky did yesterday, but one of the things of many that stood out about Brisky yesterday were first pitch strikes. 17 of the 22 batters that Brisky faced, Brisky got the first pitch strike.
That's what, over a 75% clip right there when she's just able to get ahead. And now against Vic Moten, I think that you have to, as an offense, go into it with a bit more of a disciplined game plan. You don't just want to go up there and hack first pitch just for the sake of swinging at the first pitch, but you want to make sure that you're hunting something that you can do damage with.
Fouled off, and it's 2-2 to Hutchins with 2 down.
Pretty hard hit down the left field line. I'm almost tempted to see if Vic Moten comes back with that drop ball down and away, because Allie Hutchins kind of got out and around on that pitch. I'd be pumping in that drop ball. That drop ball has been nasty so far through the first 2 innings.
Moten's going to have to field it. Going to be a tough play, and an infield hit for Hutchins. Looked like she got the drop. She was ready for it, put it into play. That's all it takes right now against this Alabama pitching staff. You got to find some way to get on.
And this is a good adjustment by Allie Hutchins, too. I know it's not the hardest hit in the playbook, but you're just doing whatever you can to put the ball in play, because we saw so many strikeouts against this LSU offense yesterday. You're almost thinking that infield hit can kind of spark the lineup a bit, give them a little extra energy now, even with 2 outs. Can they continue to build off of this momentum in the bottom of the second?
Avery Hodge, number 9 hitter, steps in. Strike 1. Giles throwing back to second as Bajaran was well off the bag. Did draw a throw and got back safely. This is just the second time in this Super that LSU has a runner in scoring position. It was Lassiter in the first inning yesterday, Bajaran in the second inning today. Moten wondering where that pitch was.
Bajaran taking a big lead off a second with Salen Hawkins shifted in the 5-6 hole.
Hodge went. It's 1-2. Two and 2. Avery 2 for 9 in the NCAA tournament with a couple of walks. Slapped out to left, dropping quickly. It's down for a base hit. Holding at third is Bajaran. So it is the 3rd hit of the game for LSU. Hodge gets the base hit to load him up.
You're seeing these swings too. They're just doing what they can to adjust to the movement on these pitches. This is a great job by Avery Hodge. You can see how her eyes are tracking that ball all the way to her barrel. That was a drop ball that was low in the zone, and she just gets enough of it to drop it out in front of Audrey Vandegrift in left field. Sometimes when you're facing dominant pitchers, if you go up there with the mentality to hit the grand slam or to hit the 3-run shot, you can swing too big. You almost got to dial things back a bit.
Big spot here for Jayla Lassiter. If you're LSU, this is the player you want at the plate. This is your leader. This is the one who sets the tone, and she has a chance here with the bases loaded to finally get runs on the board for a team playing Alabama. And there's ball 1.
If I'm Lassiter in this situation, especially after watching that drop ball go by for ball 1, I am zoning in on one of those rise balls. That is the only pitch that I am looking for in this at-bat.
Moten calls for time. We mentioned it's warm. It is very humid, so Rosenbach going to get a workout here today. Framed by Giles for a strike, 1-1.
I think that's a good take by Jayla Lassiter, and it's an even better pitch by Vic Moten. That was one of those high drop balls.
Beth Torina is out to argue with the plate umpire.
At first I was wondering if she was talking about the strike zone, but then she's pointing around to the umpires. See, now I think she's talking to him about possibly Vic Moten coming back onto the rubber, bringing her hands together. That's what I'm reading from what looked to be the conversation from Beth Torina.
The 1-1. Hit well to center field. It's high, it's far, it is caught at the wall by Kristen White. LSU that close to getting on the board. They leave them loaded.
You know it's got to feel good for LSU to finally get something going, but you know who feels even better? It is Vic Moten, the freshman, getting out of the jam.
The Alabama fans, you can feel the energy trying to give Bama a little push here because LSU is certainly pushing back here in game 2 of this series with their backs against the wall.
They are definitely knocking at the door, and you're seeing them kind of make those adjustments against Vic Moten. And it looked like off of the bat for a second, Jayla Lassiter got a hold of that one. But even thinking back to yesterday, there were just not a ton of hard hit balls put in play. But right there, we can go ahead and add that one. Jayla Lassiter almost with a grand slam right up against the wall, but caught by Kristen White.
(7-8-9) for Bama here in the third. Evener starts with strike 1 to Ambry Taylor. Taylor looking for her first hits of the NCAA tournament. Has walked a couple of times, including yesterday. Got to be impressed by Heavener so far. We talked quite a bit about her control problems, high number of walks, high number of hit batters, but she has been up to the challenge so far. A couple of strikeouts. She's faced the minimum through 2. Has her third straight 0-2 count and gets her third strikeout, 1 away.
She's somebody that can be, like we talked about, effectively wild in the circle, but when she does get ahead, that's where she can expand. She can throw that rise ball way up and out of the zone and get those swings and misses like we just saw from Ambry Taylor. She looks very calm, cool, and collected out there in the circle for the entire season, really riding on her shoulders right here. She is not showing that one bit.
Salyn Hawkins, shortstop, steps in with 1 down. Takes ball 1. Heavener got the game 1 start in the Baton Rouge Regional. Went the distance, gave up 3 hits, did walk 3, struck out 11, including the first 7 she faced. So continuing what she started at LSU. Hawkins fouls it off. It's 1-1.
To me, Eric, this feels like a big inning for Heavener, too, because your offense got very close to putting some runs up on the board. They, without a doubt, put pressure on this Alabama defense, on the pitching staff for Alabama. So to be able to come right back out, sit the batters 3 up, 3 down, and get your team back into the dugout kind of feels like it could be a huge momentum swing in this ball game.
Missed the mark. It's 2-1. Heavener with a long hold on the throw back from Bajaran and a look back towards the plate, wondering where that one ended up.
Looked like a backdoor curveball on the outer half to Salyn Hawkins. Not an easy pitch to take. Looked pretty close. Looked like it clipped the outside part of the zone.
2-2.
When you almost get that call, you come back right with the same pitch, maybe just a little bit more on the plate, and as a batter, you're thinking, I cannot let another one of those go by. You take a hack at it. I'm sure Coach Beth Torina has got to be pleased with what she's been seeing out of Jaden Heavener so far today.
Out of play. Hawkins was 1 for 3 with a run scored yesterday. Couple of hits in the tournament. Ten hits yesterday for Alabama, and that's 7-0 win. Alabama's 24th shutout of the season. That's #1 in Division I. Full count. If LSU wins, we'll meet tomorrow in the third and final game of the Tuscaloosa Super Regional. Alabama wins. They move on to the Women's College World Series for a 16th time. 3-2. Hooking foul and out of the reach of Lorenz. Good long at bat here for Hawkins, though. 8th pitch coming up.
Huebner tried to work her back inside. When she gets into the batter's box, too, you can see how down in her legs she is. She's almost leaned over, too, with her upper body. So back-to-back pitches that Huebner's been trying to work inside. Finally jams her up on that last foul ball.
Another 3-2. Another foul ball.
That pitch, too, you can see where Macy Bajoran was setting up. I guarantee she wants that pitch even further in on the hands of Saylin Hawkins, but instead it stays a little bit more over the plate. And that's what allowed Hawkins to foul it off and see another one. Would not be surprised if she goes back inside here.
5th foul ball for Hawkins in this at-bat. Another 3-2 from Huebner. And another strikeout, called strike 3. 3 in a row for Jaden Huebner, 2 down.
I thought she was gonna come back inside, and I think Saylin Hawkins thought so too. Instead, it's one of these rise balls that's going to work a completely different direction than the curveball in on the hands to the righties. It's going to tail away from the right-handed batter and just barely clip that outside part of the strike zone. That is a great pitch out of the hand of Huebner.
Kristen White, number 9 hitter, steps in. Ball 1. White, 4th on the team at hitting, 370 on the season, 2 for 3 with the run scored yesterday, 6 for 10 in the tournament. Two and 0. Senior has great speed. Gets down the line quickly out of the left-hand batter's box. Ready for the 2-0 from Huebner. 3-0.
You can see Bajoran kind of talking to the dugout there. They're asking where those pitches are missing. It looked like she pointed down. So our home plate umpire is saying that those pitches are missing down in the zone. Those look like strikes to me.
Don Brown, the plate umpire today. 3-0. 4-pitch walk. Alabama has their first base runner. Comes with 2 down in the 3rd inning. Now we'll see what kind of adjustments Alabama makes the 2nd time through the lineup as Jenna Young steps in the batter's box. Young struck out in the top of the 1st. Take strike 1. Bases were loaded for Jenna in the 4th inning yesterday. She cleared the bases with a double. Put Alabama on top 6-0. 7-0 was the final. Wild pitch gets away from Bajoran, and White is at second.
This is where Bajoran's going to have to do whatever she can to try to keep these pitches in front of her. You can tell that this one is one of those rise balls that kind of just slips out of the hand of Huebner, and so Bajoran gets crossed up a bit. And since she's not able to keep it in front of her, Kristen White is going to easily move over into scoring position, and you know she's looking to try to take off over to 3rd base.
Another one that slips out of the hands of Huebner, it would appear. White over to 3rd. 2-1 the count. The crowd gets a little louder.
Let's see what happens on this release. Looks like this one's supposed to be on the other side of the plate, and she just lets go of this rise ball a bit too late, and so that's why you're going to get that carry all the way back to the backstop. It tips off of the edge of the glove of Bajoran, and kind of sensing the moment and the momentum for Alabama, It's a senior veteran move to call time, slow things down for your pitcher, and tell her to zero back in. She was in the zone. She had struck out 3 in a row, ending the second inning, going into this inning in the third, and just kind of lost command in the last 2 at-bats.
But you can see she's doing whatever she can, blowing on her hand, using her towel, wiping on her leg just to try to get a dry hand, but she doesn't have the grip right now. Ball's free, and the runner's in. 3 wild pitches, and Kristen White scores to put Alabama in front.
Alabama manufacturing a run without even having to take the bat off of their shoulders. Kristen White moving all the way around on those wild pitches, scores on another pitch that makes it all the way back to the backstop against Huebner.
3-1 the count now to Young, but the 3 balls haven't been anywhere close to the zone. That one is down the middle. Young with the swing and a miss.
What's wild to me, Eric, too, is when I look back at that at-bat against Kristen White, those were very close pitches. I thought that some of those pitches in there could have easily been called for strikes. And then all of a sudden, this at-bat to Jenna Young, you're seeing her miss way out of the strike zone.
Back-to-back walks with 2 down.
Even that pitch, you could tell Bergeron just crossed up again on where those locations are. And sensing this, we're seeing some movement from Coach Beth Torina. Is she going to come out and have a quick conversation with her battery? There she is coming out right now.
Well, she's bringing a new towel as well, trying to find any way to help her pitcher try the handoff, get a better grip. After that wild pitch that allowed White to score, Huebner turned right around. She was grabbing up a pile of dirt, just trying to find any way to get some control here. Talking it over with Beth Torina.
I think that's all you can do.
Also is the pitching coach for this team. Sorry,
yeah, that's all you can do in this situation right now, too, especially given the way that Huebner's been throwing to start the game. I know that things have kind of unraveled here in the 3rd inning, but it's not like she's given up 3-run home runs. It's just been the command. It's been some of those wild pitches, which we knew she was going to have to try to contain coming into this game. Now, the outlier is a bit of the humidity, trying to figure out when she can get that consistent grip on the softball to get back into the zone. She's been able to find it. It's just finding it consistently against this lineup.
This is nothing new. This feels like Baton Rouge weather right here with the humidity, but 76 walks on the season now issued by Huebner. Back-to-back walks. Wells could not check on the appeal. Strike 1. Wells grounded to short her first time. Maddie, take me into the batter's box here. How big is the strike zone, or what you're going to swing at right now if you're a hitter when you have a pitcher like this struggling as much as she is?
If I'm in that batter's box, I'm not swinging. I might not even swing until I get to 2 strikes, because I'm going to do whatever I can to keep the pressure on her in the circle.
Wells does take a cut.
She took a half cut at the first pitch, too, which kind of surprised me. Now, maybe you're thinking after the conversation with pitching coach, head coach Beth Torina, that she's going to come out and pump a strike just to get ahead. But I still feel like I would have been more on the discipline side of things, just keeping that pressure on her. And instead, you almost give it right back to Huebner in the circle.
The 1-2. Called strike 3. So Huebner runs into control problems. It leads to an Alabama run, but just 1 run for the Crimson Tide in the 3rd.
Comes down to manufacturing a run. How can you take advantage of these situations? And Alabama scores on a wild pitch. Kristen White giving this team the lead.
Welcome back to the NCAA Softball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. It's a tight one here as we head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. 1-0 Alabama. And we're joined now by the LSU head coach, Beth Torina. Beth, can you just take us through what you're trying to do and what Jaden's trying to do just to get a good grip? We saw you last inning. Just bring a new towel out. What's happening right now?
Well, it's just hot. I mean, it's playing in the south, right? I think both pitchers are probably in the same spot today. But I think Jaden looks great. Her stuff looks great. I think Jane just needs to be herself, and it'll be a great matchup. I mean, she's so talented, so I think Jane just needs to be herself. She's doing great.
Coach, on the offensive side of things, you guys were about 10 feet away from having a grand slam and blowing this game wide open, but what sort of adjustments do you like that you're seeing from your offense early in this game?
Yeah, I think they've done a great job, and then just continuing to be led by Jayla Laster. Isn't she awesome? Man, what a charge she put into that one. Just missed it. We're so proud of her and the season she's had. But I think I like the spot that our offense is in. It feels like they're getting some momentum, and, they'll keep going.
We appreciate the time, as always, Beth.
Thank you, Coach.
Sierra Daniel to lead things off for LSU. Before we came on, Maddie and I did ask Beth when she put the headset on what happened with the umpires earlier in the game. She said she was trying to call time. The umpires couldn't hear her because it was loud in the park, so she was just coming out just to let it be known. Like, I was trying to get time called here to just stop something that was happening in the game.
And one of the things, too, to keep an eye on now with both pitchers having the rosin out there because it is warm, because there is moisture in the air, is making sure when they do go to the rosin, you still have to wipe off on your pants before you go to the ball. So you can't go straight from the rosin straight to that ball. So maybe that's something that both of these coaches, too, are keeping an eye on for with these pitchers.
First pitch strike to Daniel. Now down the count 0-2. She struck out looking in the first. Vic Moten, the freshman, has given up 3 hits. She struck out 5. One and two. Once again, an Alabama pitcher working with a lead in the NCAA tournament. As Kristen White, after getting walked, came around on 3 wild pitches to score the game's first run. Ground ball to the right side. Jenny Young over to Wells at first. Daniel retired. And Madison asked Beth Farina about it. Jayla Lassiter, Maddie said 10 feet, maybe less than that, away from a grand slam. It was, Lassiter put a charge in it.
I feel like she might have faked out everybody in the ballpark except for Kristen White.
One down for Kylie Edwards. Edwards got the first hit for LSU in the first inning. Her 6th hit of the NCAA tournament. Strike 1. One and one. Vic Moten, the freshman from Daphne, Alabama, has given up more than 4 hits 1 time in her last 15 appearances, and that was 5 hits by Texas in the SEC championship game. Popped up to shallow center. White's coming on, and she's got it for the out. 2 down. Great catch, Kristen White.
Well, we saw Kristen White have to take a couple of steps back to rob Jayla Lassiter, and this time she runs forward. Eric, she almost overruns this one on the dive, but she's still able to watch it all the way in her glove, slam that hand down on the ground, and look at the passion and fire from everybody on the field for Alabama after that catch.
Saw a couple of good plays defensively from Alabama yesterday as Brisky was trying to retire the final 21 batters she faced in that game. Jenna Young at second base caught a sinking liner. White put a star on that one for 2 down. And here's Alex Franklin. 2-0 to Franklin. Franklin, the sophomore from Louisiana, played in 2 games last year, had 3 at-bats, and now she's the cleanup hitter, and she's put a charge in this one, and it's off the wall. Franklin with a 2-out double for LSU. One of the most improved players in the SEC, if not the country, comes through with the 2-out double.
She's in a 2-0 count, too, a really good hitter's count. And this one is one of the drop balls that's supposed to go down and inside, and it is a great swing. This is not an easy pitch to drive with authority, let alone drive the opposite direction, but she keeps her hands inside of that drop ball to drive it out into the right center gap for a stand-up double, and it looks like our umpires are coming together here. Eric, it did look like maybe there was a bit of a collision over at second base. I wonder if that's part of this conversation as Alex Franklin was getting over to second.
I think Franklin was just trying to put on the brakes, and Hawkins was just caught in a spot where there was going to be some contact. Franklin,
to me,
a little bit of a body adjustment, but I wouldn't throw that under malicious, would you?
Yeah, I would definitely not throw that under malicious. It looked like she wasn't wanting to slide.
Back up the middle. Here comes Franklin being waved around, and here is the first run scored against Alabama in the NCAA tournament. Tori Edwards with the 2-out RBI, and LSU's on the board.
This run right here is a product of making little adjustments within your swing. Tori Edwards gets a pitch on the outer half, and you can see how she got it just right on the end of her bat. Alex Franklin taking off straight from second base. No hesitation in this 2-out situation. That's a drop ball away, and it's a great swing by Tori Edwards to bring across the first run.
LSU aggressive at the plate. Franklin had the hard hit double to the gap in right center. Edwards follows quickly on the first pitch with the RBI single, 45 RBI. And Alabama has given up a run in the NCAA tournament. Oh, and 2 the count to Bajaran. Swung on and missed. Strikeouts for Vic Moten. That's her 6th, but LSU gets on the board to tie things up as we head to the 4th. We will talk with the Alabama head coach, Patrick Murphy, when we come back to Tuscaloosa in a tie game. Right now, well, wasn't going to last forever, although you probably wish it would, but your pitching staff finally gives up a run. What have you thought about Vic Moten here today and what she's been able to do to try to keep this run going for your team, Patrick?
Well, pretty good. She's pretty electric. She's throwing the ball hard. I think it's been 70 or above almost every single pitch. The last pitch was a really good changeup to a good hitter. Got her out on that, but we need to score runs for her. We need to get a hit here in this inning, so I hope you guys talk about that. She has a no-hitter.
Coach, that was going to be my next question. You've got Alexis Papillo starting you guys off here, second time through the order. What sort of swing adjustments do you want to see against Jaden Huebner?
I'd say leave it up. You got to stay down in the zone. If it comes in high, it's going to go higher. She's got a pretty good rise ball, so it's easier said than done, especially if you like to swing at something up, you know, and it's at your eye level. But we have to see it down, go hard line drives up the middle.
Murph, I feel like you were talking directly at me when you were talking
about
swinging at pitches at your eye level.
I remember playing against you.
Thank you. Appreciate
it, Coach.
Thanks for being here, you guys.
I don't know if a T-shirt was ever printed. Madison Shipman chases rise balls, loves the rise ball, can hit the rise ball.
In my head, every time I swung, they were going to get launched over the scoreboard. That wasn't always the case, but
it was pretty close to reality.
I knew
though.
if I didn't swing, they had zero chance of making it over the scoreboard.
Strike one from Jaden Huebner to Alexis Papillo. Fouled out to Hodge. Third baseman, her first time. Just 2 base runners for Alabama, both coming by way of walks last inning. Papillo puts a charge in it. Center field. It's deep. It's gone. It's 2-1 Bama.
We just heard from Coach Murphy. The game plan for the offense was to see the ball down. Don't chase at the rise balls up at the shoulders, but force her to bring those pitches into the strike zone. And she does exactly that to Alexis Papillo, who has now gone yard twice in this Super Regional, and this time this solo shot gives Alabama the lead.
First hit for Alabama against Heavner comes in the 4th inning as Papillo hits number 19, giving her 60 RBI on the season. Last year she hit 7 home runs, but you get a look on a hot day like today when you got the short sleeves and roll them up a little bit. She's been hitting the weights from the end of last year to this year. Really dialed it up. That's Roman with a fly ball to the left fielder. Lorenz, one down here in the 4th. Women's College World Series returning to Oklahoma City. The action begins Thursday, May 28th, noon Eastern Time, live on ESPN. For more information on the 2026 Women's College World Series, visit NCAA.com, the home for all NCAA championships. Florida has stayed alive. They got a 10-2 win over Niger Kennedy and Texas Tech, so they'll play a deciding Game 3 tomorrow. Bunted foul by Giles. Oklahoma has stayed alive in Norman. They beat Mississippi State 7-1, so a Game 3 coming at Love's Field tomorrow to decide who goes on to Oklahoma City. Handful of games still to come today. Take you into the evening on Super Regional Saturday. Alabama wins, they will punch their ticket to Oklahoma City. LSU wins, will be here tomorrow for a Game 3. 1-1 to Giles. One and 2 to Giles. Fly to right her first time. Alabama scored a run in the 3rd. Kristen White walked, took 2nd on a wild pitch, 3rd on a wild pitch, home on a wild pitch. Papillo leading off the 4th with her 19th home run. 2 and 2.
I know we talked about it quite a bit yesterday, Eric, with this Alabama offense and how there have been a lot of players that have significantly improved their numbers from last season to this season. Alexis Papillo being one of those players that's had just an offensive explosion up at the plate this year.
Giles down on strikes, 2 down. You saw Papillo with pen in hand. She keeps a journal. She keeps track of everything she does in the game, every at-bat. Writes what she saw, what she did with it, and usually she's doing something good with it.
Well, and everybody's going to have their different routine and their different style, but I think being able to immediately write down maybe something that you're seeing from the pitcher or where they decided to throw you in that at-bat that might have been different from what you saw yesterday, all of that information you can use when you step back into the batter's box the next time around.
Vandergrift fouls it off for strike 1.
One of the swings that really stood out to me when you look at Alexis Papillo was one of the hits that she got last weekend. It was a double the opposite way, and it was on a changeup. And I felt like at times last year she was swinging at changeups almost as if they were coming in 70 miles per hour and she was wanting to drive them 400 feet. But just a subtle switch in her timing, being able to recognize those pitches.
Vandergrift's got another hit in the postseason. She's been red hot. That's her 12th postseason hit in 24 at-bats. That's NCAA tournament and SEC tournament combined.
You got to take what the pitcher is giving you and learn and take that information, keep it in your back pocket and use it the next time up. Audrey Vandegrift's first at-bat, Jaden Heavner tried to throw her inside, jammed her up. This time, what does Audrey Vandegrift do? She turns on that pitch and hammers it out to right field.
Ambry Taylor at the plate. Vandegrift on the move. Fouled off for strike 1. Audrey Vandegrift leading the team in stolen bases. Alabama 76 successful stolen bases this season, 7 of 8 in the NCAA tournament. Hit the right field and hit well. It's carrying, and it is off the wall. Vandegrift's got great speed. She took a look to see where it was, so she'll have to hold at third. And Ambry Taylor has her first hit of the NCAA tournament.
Back-to-back two-out hits for this Crimson Tide offense. Ambry Taylor going after this pitch on the outer half. You can see how she doesn't even follow through with her swing. She just throws her hands at this outside pitch, drives it into the right center gap, dives into second base. This is a great piece of hitting. Macy Bajoran set up on the outside part of the plate. She saw that pitch low in the zone, and she uses her back leg to provide the power with the extension of her upper body. That is a picture-perfect swing on how to go after a pitch low and away and drive it oppo.
Here's Saylin Hawkins. Take strike one. Looking back at that replay, Vandergrift was hesitating between first and second with two outs. She just has to hit the gas and go, so that might have cost Alabama at least a chance to score here to add a run this inning.
I agree, and we saw the aggressive base running come into play, not just in this game, but even going back to yesterday's ball game for Alabama.
Hawkins with the bloop, it will drop in. Vandergrift scores, Taylor scores, a two-out RBI. Single for Saylin Hawkins, and Alabama adds to their lead.
Alabama just putting on a clinic on making adjustments from what they might have gotten out on in the prior at bat and using that as their game plan going into their next at bat. Saylin Hawkins getting a pitch on the inner half, and she is out in front of this one, and she knows it off of the bat that that ball is going to land out in left field and drive in a couple of runs for Alabama to extend their lead in this inning.
Ball one to Kristen White. We just had the conversation with Patrick Murphy. Have you seen the Alabama batters and their approach at the plate this inning be in line with what he told you to watch for?
It definitely looks like they are trying to force Jaden Heavner to throw pitches just a little bit lower in the zone, but what stands out to me is the intent in which Alabama is taking cuts at these pitches. Sometimes they're not the perfect pitch. Look at the pitch that Ambry Taylor hit. That pitch is probably going to be called a ball, but if you have the mindset that one, you're going to see the ball down, and two, you are looking for anything middle out, you're aggressive and you're going after that, and that's what we're seeing from the swings from Alabama in this inning versus what we saw at the beginning part of this ball game.
Inside to White, and it's 2-0. On a hot, humid day here in Tuscaloosa, Heavner working this inning. Seventh batter she's faced. 2-0 the count to White. 3-0.
See the corner infielders especially playing way in with Kristen White. She's done such a good job recently of being able to turn that lineup over, whether it's with the soft slap, whether it's with a bunt. And especially now that you've got a runner over at first base, it makes it even more challenging for the defense to try to defend against.
3-1.
Heavner does do a very good job of fielding her position in the circle, so she is not afraid if Kristen White lays down a bunt to try to jump out of that circle and make a play over at first base.
Called a strike. Count is full now to Kristen White. 3-2 with two down. Hawkins will be off with the release of the pitch by Heavner, who's up to 70 pitches as she works here in the fourth. To Daniel, the throw over to first in time to retire White. But 3 runs in the inning for Alabama to go on top 4-1.
Alexis Papillo gets things started with another solo shot. This one is a missile off of the bat out to center field to give Alabama the lead. And then some two-out hitting from Saylin Hawkins brings in another 2 runs for Alabama. Before we had even started game 1 here in Tuscaloosa, congratulations to the Lady Volunteers for advancing to Oklahoma City.
Florida and Oklahoma with wins today, so there will be game 3s in Norman and in Gainesville tomorrow. Nebraska and Oklahoma State will follow us here on ESPN. Game 2 of that series, Nebraska took game 1, 8-1. Oh, and 2 the count to Charles Lorenz leading things off here for LSU in the bottom of the fourth. I know we've had a chance to see Arizona State quite a bit in person in the past few weeks, and I think the rest of the country is getting a look at what we have seen. Kenzie Brown, 10 strikeouts as Arizona State got the win last night in Austin over Texas 4-1. They'll meet tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern, here on ESPN. Hawkins puts away the pop-up. Lorenz retired, 1 down.
I don't know if you can ever really say that somebody quietly has over 200 strikeouts in a season, but I feel like that was the case for Kenzie Brown up until a couple of weeks ago. But if you don't know the name Kenzie Brown, you absolutely need to get to know her. One of the best strikeouts.
Right now, due to lightning in the area within 7-mile radius, players need to clear the field.
Oh boy, that came out of nowhere, lightning has been detected, so we are going to put a pause on this game right now. We mentioned at the top of the telecast there was a chance for weather to move in later, but with this tropical air in place, anything could happen. So we'll take a peek at the radar and see. Yeah, this is what's happening. Just last couple days, just things popping up from the southwest and moving their way up. So radar has been detected. You heard the announcement from Chris Neighbors. So we start the clock, 30 minutes. If there's another detected flash of lightning, we reset for another 30 minutes. So for now, we step aside. It's not raining at the moment, but we're in a weather delay after the lightning detection. 4-1 Alabama over LSU in the bottom of the fourth. Matt will keep you company in the studio.
Bottom of the fourth inning with Alabama with a 4-1 lead over LSU.
Vic Moten back in the circle, getting loose after what will be a 1 hour and 45-minute weather delay. At 3:20 Central Time, lightning was detected with an 8-mile radius. We did have about a 5-minute rain shower, so there wasn't a lot of water, but we've had the delay because there were some other lightning strikes. Now, there is some other weather on the horizon, so they are trying to kind of shoehorn play in here if possible. But again, if there's a lightning strike nearby, we'll have to put things on pause. But for the moment, the sun's trying to come out, and we're ready to resume with LSU at the plate in the bottom half of the fourth inning. This is game 2 of the best of 3. Alabama won game 1 7-0. LSU has done what no team had done yet against Alabama in the NCAA tournament, and that's score a run when Alex Franklin came across in the third inning. It's Allie Hutchins at the plate with 1 out here in the bottom half of the fourth inning, and Alabama on top 4-1. You've been in this position before. What's the biggest challenge after an hour and 45-minute delay? The teams were given an opportunity to stretch out and throw, but it hasn't been a full reset with BP. There was a limited infield for both teams as well.
I think getting warmed up is one of the easiest things that you can do.
Hutchins wasting no time, pops it up in foul ground. Jenna Young tracks it down, 2 down.
I was going to say, too, if this were just a regular season game, it might be a little bit more challenging to get the energy level back up to where it was when you left off. But for LSU, with their season being on the line, and for Alabama, with a trip to the Women's College World Series being on the line, you are going to see no problem at all with both of these teams bringing the energy right out of the gate with that rain delay.
Number 9 hitter Avery Hodge singled in the second. Takes ball 1. 5 hits for LSU. They had a great opportunity in the second inning. 1-1 They had the bases loaded and 2 outs after Hodge had singled, and then Jayla Lassiter hit a fly ball that pushed Kristen White back to the wall in straightaway center field, just a few feet away from a grand slam. 1-2. Strikeout for Vic Moten. That's number 7. She threw 8 pitches total in the 4th inning, and we have played 4-1 Alabama.
Vic Moten picking up right where she left off. It's another strikeout. This time it's on that drop ball low and away, and we are back to playing softball here in Tuscaloosa after the rain delay.
Top of the 5th for Alabama. Here's what happened in the top of the 4th. Alexis Papillo led off with a home run, her 19th of the season. Ambry Taylor got her first hit of the NCAA tournament. It was a double. She would come in to score on Salyn Hawkins' 2-run single. 3 runs in the inning to put Bama on top 4-1. Visiting team batting here in the 5th. Game 2 of the best of 3. Alabama wins. It's on to OKC. LSU wins. We play again tomorrow. Winner take all. Jaden Heavener retired the first 8 batters she faced, then walked Kristen White, got wild. White would score on a wild pitch to put Alabama on the board. Young walked in the 3rd inning, the next batter. Heavener throws her 73rd pitch. Young can't catch up to it. It's 1-1.
You saw Alabama's offense really start to make some adjustments up at the plate right after we had talked to Coach Murphy, too, about what he wanted to see from his offense. One of the things that he pointed out is he wanted them to force Jaden Heavener to pitch a little bit lower in the zone. There's a changeup out of the hand of Jaden Heavener. Have not seen many of those from her today. Maybe that's part of her game plan, too, coming out of that rain delay, knowing that Alabama was starting to make some really good adjustments on her rise ball. We might see more and more of those off-speed pitches just to get them out in front and get them thinking about a different pitch out of her hand.
The 1-2 to the Alabama leadoff hitter. We'll have to wait as time is called by Bajaran behind the plate. Peyton Monticelli got the start yesterday for LSU. Cece Salura came on in relief. Heavener rounding out the 3 main starters used by Beth Torina. There you see the senior Monticelli ready to go in the bullpen if needed to relieve Heavener. Heavener's 31st appearance of the season, 13 wins. That's how to play.
Some more action going on there in that LSU bullpen. Tatum Clopton getting loose, and Cece Salura, Eric, who you had just mentioned. And of course, with their season being on the line, you know that all hands are going to be ready at any point in time to try to keep this game where it is and give their offense a chance to be able to come back.
Fly ball to left, hit well, but it will be caught by Char Lorenz. 1 down in the top of the 5th. Young is retired, and they'll bring up Brooke Wells.
Brooke Wells struck out looking on a curveball in her last at-bat. In her first at-bat back in the 1st inning against Jaden Heavener, ended up hitting a ground ball over the shortstop on a rise ball inside. It's been the one spot in this Alabama order that has been quiet through these first 2 games.
Wells fouls it off for strike 1. LSU has done well against Brooke Wells, who came into the series with 23 home runs, 65 RBI to lead Alabama in both categories. 0 for 6 in the Super Regional so far. 3 for 16 in the NCAA tournament. Oh, and 2. Starts to get a little darker here at the Rhodes House. The sun was out for maybe 10 seconds, maybe a little longer.
I'm just going to ignore the weather and hope for the best, right?
I think that's going to be a mistake.
Play's currently suspended again. Lightning is within the 8-mile radius of the stadium. Players need to clear the field.
That was very quick to realize that my strategy did not pay off. I am 0 with my strategy, and we'll try again.
Again, there wasn't a lot of rain with that first delay, but when we came back on a little after 5 o'clock Central Time, we knew there was some other weather coming up in the south, so we'll keep an eye on that. We made it 7 minutes. That's how far we got. Let's see how long this delay lasts. It's 4-1 Alabama. We play in the top of the 5th inning. We're in our second weather delay. We'll get you to Matt and the crew in the studio after this timeout. Coming out of our second weather delay, here's the timeline, all Eastern time. Alabama went on top 4-1 at 4:14 Eastern. Lightning in the area, so we had a weather delay at 4:20. Play resumed for 8 minutes, 7 minutes before our second delay. And we're ready to resume in about a minute and a half after Madison Shipman takes you through what we've gone through already today.
Let's go back a few hours. Yeah. First run on the board for Alabama comes off of a wild pitch out of the hand of Jaden Heavner, but LSU fired back with a run of their own. Alex Franklin scoring after she ripped a double out to the outfield. But Alexis Papillo with her 19th home run of the season goes yard for a solo shot. And Salyn Hawkins capitalizing on a couple of 2-out base hits to bring in some more runs for the Crimson Tide, and that is where we stand yet again. Alabama with the 4-1 lead over LSU.
We pick up play in the top half of the 5th inning with 1 out and an 0-2 count on Brooke Wells. Alabama, the visiting team, they won game 1 yesterday 7-0. If they win here tonight when we eventually finish this game, and I've had my doubts.
That, yes, yes.
They move on to Oklahoma City. Since we last left you, it was a 2-hour and 23-minute delay. 2 teams have punched their ticket to the Women's College World Series since our second delay began.
Couple of meals, couple of teams celebrating and dog piles on the field, and here we are back in Tuscaloosa. And when you look at that long delay to over 2 hours, just this past delay, the second delay, that's 2 hours now that Brooke Wells has been at an 0-2 count against Jaden Heavner. So she might have the toughest job across the board stepping into the batter's box now.
Heavner ready to go with the 0-2 pitch with 1 down here in the top of the 5th. This is outside, so we resume at 7:35 Central Time. If we add up the 2 delays, 4 hours and 8 minutes total with that 7-minute of game time sandwiched in between. It was a very thin sandwich. Not much between the delay bread slices. Fouled off. We'll do the 1-2 again. Jaden Heavner, the starter, making her 22nd start. She's thrown 81 pitches, got into trouble in the 3rd and again in the 4th. Alabama scored 1 in the 3rd and 3 in the 4th. Wells can't catch up to it. Strikeout for Heavner. That's number 7, 2 down.
You're seeing a consistent velocity from her, too. I think that's one of the first things that I'm going to be looking at for these pitchers, because that's a lot of up and down time in between when she's been back out there in the circle. But she comes out throwing an easy 67 to get Brooke Wells for what might be the season's longest strikeout.
That was quite the at-bat. By time, it was over 2 hours and 20 minutes. Here's Alexis Papillo. Hit her 19th home run of the season, her last time up. Papillo 1 for 2 today. 3 for 6 in the Super Regional with a couple of home runs. Call the strike, and it's 0-2.
Good location for that curveball low and away. The home run that Papillo hit against Hefner was off of one of those curveballs. She did bust out a changeup against Marley Giles back in the 4th inning, and I wonder if that's a pitch that she's going to use more and more down the stretch here. I'd be using it to Alexis Papillo right now.
Papillo with a line drive to the center fielder. Lassiter's there, and that does it for Alabama in the top half of the 5th. 4-1 Crimson Tide after 4.5. Pitching change for Alabama. Jocelyn Brisky now in the circle, Madison.
After a couple of rain delays, we were kind of talking about this too after the first rain delay when Vic Moten came back in. I thought that was the right move, but after that long second rain delay, lightning delay, whatever you want to call it, I like this move of bringing Jocelyn Brisky in. It's almost like she's starting a brand new game, especially when you look at the top of the order now coming up for LSU. It pretty much feels like the start of a whole new ball game, and now LSU is going to have to shift their game plan, kind of look back to what they did yesterday and make adjustments against Brisky in the circle.
Jayla Lassiter had the only hit against Brisky yesterday in game 1 of this Super Regional. It was a double leading off the game. After that, Brisky retired 21 in a row to go the distance with a one-hitter. The 0-1 to Lassiter, who's 0 for 2 today. Tried to check, could not, 0-2.
So there are a few more changes that we're noticing. Coach Beth Torina has now gone over into the third base coach's box. She, this year, started staying in the dugout with the team when they were on offense, but now she's back over there in that third base coach's box after that second rain delay.
Off the plate for a ball, it's 1-2.
We did joke with her. She did make this move last weekend in regionals against Virginia Tech, and Jayla Lassiter was up at the plate, and they were down to the Hokies. Jayla Lassiter went yard in that at-bat.
Change up in there, strike 3. Brisky picks up where she left off last night. 1 down.
There's that changeup. That changeup was the difference maker last night. She had command of all 3 of her pitches, the rise ball, the drop ball, and then of course the off-speed pitch. That's the pitch that really made the difference in last night's game. Her being able to execute that as the game went on, she got better and better.
Fouled off by Sierra Daniel for strike 1. Daniel 0 for 2 today, 0 for 5 in the Super. Oh, and 2. Beth Torina, who obviously was a pitcher at Florida, handles pitching coach duties for this team. She has not taken her eyes off of Jocelyn Brisky very much here. Seeing if she can find anything that can help her hitters here against Brisky, who is lights out yesterday in game 1.
Looking for any sort of edge, anything that she can do to help her team. It almost feels like she keeps scooting further and further back down that left field foul line too. But you're right, Eric, got her eyes right on Jocelyn Brisky out there in the circle.
Brisky threw her 6th shutout of the season last night. 17 first pitch strikes against the 22 batters she faced. Torina staring into the glove, looking at the grip. One and 2 to the junior second baseman. 3 flyouts against Brisky last night. Over the glove of Jenny Young at second base, and Daniel has her first hit of the Super Regional. It comes with 1 down in the 5th.
This is a little bit of an in-between dive for Jenna Young, too. Look at her reaction here. She kind of slowly goes down to the ground. I think if she would have taken a step or two to her right, she would have been able to keep that ground ball in front of her. But because she chose to dive up the middle, that ball goes right over her glove out into the outfield. And it's a hit for Sierra Daniel. And now this is when they're going to try to see if they can string together a couple of those quality at-bats in a row.
Ball one to Kylie Edwards. 1 for 2 today, singled in the first, was robbed of a hit by a diving Kristen White in center field back in the third. That skips up and gets away from Giles, and Daniel will head to second base after the wild pitch.
LSU picking up a bit of momentum, and Kylie Edwards, we talked about it yesterday, has had a phenomenal season for LSU, and you're going to notice when she gets into the box how her upper body's kind of leaning forward just a little bit. She wanted to take some ball flight out of her swing. She was hitting a bit too many fly ball outs at the beginning of the year.
Looped into the glove of the third baseman Taylor. Soft liner put away for out number 2.
She had a couple of ground balls yesterday. That line drive that you mentioned, Eric, that went to the right side. This time she gets a bit jammed up, and it's on the hands, and it goes straight to Ambry Taylor, who had to kind of time up her jump. Not a hard hit line drive her direction, but she times it up and gets it for out number 2.
Here's the sophomore right fielder Alex Franklin, 1 for 2 today. Hard hit double off of Vic Moten back in the third, but she struck out 3 times against Brisky yesterday. Brisky ended up with 11 strikeouts.
A couple of strikeouts on the drop ball and one on a curveball that was kind of moving away from her barrel, had a bit of upspin to it.
There's a strike for the SEC Pitcher of the Year, making her 8th relief appearance of the season. She does have some experience in back-to-back days. Threw 94 pitches in the win last night, and now on in relief, trying to send Alabama to the Women's College World Series. 1 and 2 to Franklin.
Eric, I feel like I keep having to remind myself that this is a relief appearance because it feels like it was the start of a brand new game. We'll see what pitch Jocelyn Brisky decides to throw after that foul ball down the right field line. Good adjustment by Alex Franklin. You could tell that she was looking for that drop ball, making the adjustment to get the barrel underneath. Now, if I'm Brisky in the circle, I see that swing, I note it, and I might come back up in the zone with one of those rise balls to kind of counteract the adjustment that I just saw from Franklin.
Another 1-2 from Brisky. Good job by Franklin to lay off, and it's 2 and 2. Two strikeouts in the inning for Jocelyn Brisky. Daniel stranded at second.
Jocelyn Brisky picking up right where she left off yesterday. This is that drop ball with a bit of arm side run, low and in to Alex Franklin. Big strikeout to get out of the jam.
1 game 2, forcing the if necessary tomorrow to decide the ticket to OKC.
Huge congratulations to both Nebraska and Arkansas. Arkansas, like you said, going for the first time in program history. That shot that the cameras got of Coach Courtney Deifel's reaction
awesome.
After that catch was made in foul territory. Just one of those moments that you know is just going to stick in her mind forever.
Base hit to lead things off for Alabama here in the top half of the 6th. It comes off the bat of Anna Roman, who has her first hit of the Super Regional.
Really nice swing here from Anna Roman, the lefty on lefty matchup. So Jaden Hebner is going with that curveball with a little bit of upbite to it too, and the good extension that she gets Got that one off the end of the bat just a little bit, but you notice how she keeps her hands palm up, palm down through the zone. That's how she was able to hit it with such authority right back up the middle.
Larissa Pruitt will come on to run for Roman.
I think Anna Roman was almost celebrating a little bit too hard on her run back into the dugout, but she made it there safely, no worries.
Here's the number 5 hitter, Marley Giles. 0 for 2 today after going 2 for 3 yesterday in game 1 of the Super Regional. Squared the bunt, pulled it back, ball 1. Giles was 2 for 7 with a home run in the Tuscaloosa Regional last weekend. Looking to sacrifice, gets the bunt down, heaving her to first, sacrifice successful, 1 down.
Very well executed sacrifice bunt. You can tell Alabama knows that this LSU offense can score runs in a hurry, so they're going to do whatever they can to capitalize on that leadoff base hit by moving Larissa Pruitt over into scoring position.
And set the table for the hottest hitter in this Alabama lineup right now, Audrey Vandegrift.
Had a base hit her last time up against a curveball that was on the inner half. Let's see what she goes after in this at-bat.
8 for 13 in the NCAA tournament. When you mix in the SEC tournament, where Alabama reached the championship game, she's 12 for 24 in the postseason. Singled and scored back in the 4th. The 1-0. Good pitch by Heavner. It's 1-1.
I really like that changeup. I think she's got to use it more and more. And if I'm in this at-bat right here to Audrey Vandegrift, with as hot as she's been up at the plate, I'd be throwing it back to back until she can prove to me that she can put it into play.
One and 2 to Vandegrift. Jaden Heavner, the sophomore from Pace, Florida, making her second start of the NCAA tournament. Vandegrift gloved at first, the throw over to third. Not in time to get Roman. Vandegrift with a productive out, 2 down.
Good way to battle, too. Just getting that ball over to the right side of the infield, advancing Larissa Pruitt over to third base. Ambry Taylor had that great hit, that great double out into the right center gap in her last at-bat on that pitch that was way off of the plate.
It was her first hit of the NCAA tournament. Fouls it off for strike 1. By the way, good play by Tori Edwards down at first base last week. She was coming off, bang to her shoulder, looked like throwing was an issue. There was no issue on that
Absolutely
throw over to third
no
base.
Issue. Yep.
Heavner's 0-1. Pruitt has to be on her toes. Alabama scored their first run on a wild pitch when Kristen White was at third, when Heavner lost control in that third inning. A lot of pressure, as you mentioned it earlier, on the catcher, Macy Bajaron, to keep things in front here in a 3-run game. How to play. Two weather delays totaling 4 hours and 8 minutes here in Tuscaloosa. And no surprise, a lot of fans have come back here to the Rhodes House after the long, long delay for this Game 2 showdown. 2-2.
I'm sure LSU fans and Alabama fans all went to maybe grab a little bit of dinner, refuel. The fans have to refuel as well as the players.
LSU team did. They got on the bus, went back to the hotel, got something to eat, then bussed back here in time for the 7:35 restart.
Yeah, we figured when we saw the LSU bus leave with the players that it was going to be a bit of a longer delay. My context cues,
Once
or
again,
clues that you know I like to use.
2-2 the count to the freshman third baseman, Ambry Taylor. 3-2.
Seeing more and more of those changeup. It's just about dialing it in. She's thrown a couple of those changeups, in this at bat to Ambry Taylor. One of them missed down in the dirt. That one she hangs on to a little bit too long. I feel like you've got to come back with one of those curveballs or rise balls here. Maybe something away to Taylor.
Taylor lays off. Runners on the corners for Alabama with 2 down in the 6th.
This is right in the middle of the stretch of the order, too, that capitalized back in that 4th inning. Had Audrey Vandegrift with that base hit, followed up by the double by Ambry Taylor, and then Salyn Hawkins coming through with that 2-out base hit out to left field to score a couple of runs.
Junior from Phoenix steps in 1 for 2 with those 2 RBI. Ball 1. Huebner 100 pitches into her start. Threw her first pitch at 2:05 p.m. Central Time. And we're closing in on 8 o'clock Central Time. You can see she's had to work. Two-0.
Got to imagine here, too, that Salyn Hawkins is just going to be taken all the way in this 3-0 count. Macy Bergeron calling time to come out and have a quick conversation with Jaden Huebner as we're seeing Peyton Monticelli getting loose in that LSU bullpen.
Monticelli got the start yesterday in game 1. Bergeron, slow walk out, slow walk back after chatting with Huebner. Hawkins walks on 4 pitches, and the bases are loaded. Kristen White walked and scored on a wild pitch in the 3rd, grounded to 2nd in the 4th. 6 for 11 in the NCAA tournament with 7 runs scored. She has a knack for getting on base. Pulls it back. Another ball thrown by Huebner.
I think you're going to continue to see her take pitches until Jaden Huebner can bring one into the strike zone.
Kristen White tough to strike out. Just 11 strikeouts on the season. And here comes Beth Torina. Does she go to Monticelli here with a 1-0 count?
My gut feeling says she's going to stay with Jaden Huebner in this situation. 2-out situation, bases loaded. Yes, I know it's a 1-0 count, and yes, I know that she's been struggling to find the strike zone, but you're in this spot because you want a chance to move on to tomorrow to advance to the Women's College World Series. You're going to have to be able to get out of this jam. Jaden Huebner is going to have to go out there, settle in, and start throwing some pitches over that strike zone.
One 1-0 the count to the senior center fielder, Kristen White. There's a strike, 1-1. Popped up. On the infield, Daniel, great job by Heavner to work out of the jam. Tarina sticks with her, and the head coach is rewarded as Heavner gets White to pop out with the bases loaded. Still a 3-run game. We've played 5.5 in Tuscaloosa.
The NCAA Softball Super Regionals are presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Freshman and a Roman. Hey, it's been a long day. You got to keep things loose, right? And here's what's at stake. Alabama wins. It's on to the Women's College World Series for a 16th time. If LSU comes from behind to win against Jocelyn Brisky, we will play the if necessary game tomorrow, game 3 here in Tuscaloosa.
And if the LSU is going to come back, it starts with making adjustments up at the plate compared to what Jocelyn Brisky did to this lineup in yesterday's ball game.
Tori Edwards swing and a miss for strike 1.
And I like that swing too. I think you have to start to take chances against Brisky. Yesterday against Brisky, Tori Edwards ended up hitting a changeup out to right field for a fly ball out and struck out on a changeup. Because of that, I'd be in this at-bat, I'd be looking for drop balls. I'd be looking for drop balls just like that one because she got a pretty good piece of that changeup in her last at-bat. So if you're thinking ahead of the pitches, where is she going to go to next? What is her next best pitch? Well, in the last 2 days, that's been the drop ball.
Check swing by Edwards. 1 for 2 today. Struck out in the second and singled in the LSU run in the third. That came against Vic Moten, who got the start, went the first 4, gave up 5 hits and the 1 run. Edwards strikes out. 3 strikeouts already for Brisky. 1 down.
Jocelyn did tell us, too, the differences that you're going to see when she's out there in the circle versus when Vic Moten is out there in the circle. She talked to us about how you see the passion and the fire and the energy when Vic Moten is out there. Jocelyn Brisky, her expression barely changes throughout the entire game.
Fly ball down the right field line. Moving over is the new right fielder, Larissa Pruitt, who holds onto it in foul ground. Quickly 2 down as Bajaran is retired. Pruitt in right, Lauren Johnson in left. The defensive changes at the moment for Alabama. And here's Char Lorenz. There is Johnson in left. Pruitt and Johnson are a big part of the success story for this Alabama team this year as Lorenz takes ball 1. They put aside bigger roles on this team for the good of the team, according to head coach Patrick Murphy. They have been regular substitutes defensively late in games for a team that's gone 53-7 entering this game here today. But by the seniors being great teammates, even though their playing time went down compared to past years, that's helped the entire team in this chemistry be what Murphy calls some of the best he's ever had.
Well, when you're some of the underclassmen, whether you're a freshman, a sophomore, a transfer coming in, and you see that type of leadership from your seniors, it just makes everybody else want to jump on board and to help your teammates one after another. What is your role? What can you do on this team every single day to provide and to help your team succeed, help them win? What is it going to take from each individual on this roster?
2-2 the count to Lorenz. Good job by Lorenz to lay off. It's 3-2. Lorenz 0 for 2. Struck out in the second, popped out in the fourth. Struck out twice against Brisky last night. Works a walk with 2 down. Here's the number 8 hitter, Allie Hutchins. Hutchins singled in the second, fouled out in the fourth. 3 hits in the NCAA tournament. Strike one. One.
There's that drop ball again, missing low and inside to Allie Hutchins. I know you've heard me talk about this over and over again, but even though if you're somebody whose swing is maybe more well-suited to pitches up in the zone, I think you've got to take a chance and drop the barrel to try to get underneath one of these pitches.
Up and in, swing and a miss, it's 1-2.
And just like that, Brisky changes her game plan, goes right back upstairs with one of those rise balls, and now you're in a 2-strike count, you're in battle mode. You got to be able to fight off everything. Fight off the drop, fight off the rise, and fight off that off speed.
Fight off the crowd. Here's the 1-2. Did she check? Yes. Mike Bartling at first base. LSU has had at least one base runner in every inning but the fourth. They could get no traffic on the bases yesterday against Brisky, except for that leadoff double by Lassiter. Pulls the string. Brisky taking a couple of steps towards the dugout. Didn't get the call. It's 3-2.
There's been a couple of pitches, even going back to the very beginning of this ball game, which feels about like yesterday at this point, where we weren't getting the bottom part of the zone called. You could tell Marley Giles wanted it, Jocelyn Brisky wanted it.
Fly ball to the right fielder. Pruitt keeps it. She's got it. And that will do it for LSU in the 6th inning. To the 7th inning we go at the Rhodes House. 4-1 Bama. You saw the game summary. There's so much to talk about, and not just weather related, but Alabama had not been scored on in the first 4 games of the NCAA tournament. They had outscored their opponents 27-0. And finally, LSU got on the board in the 3rd inning on the Tori Edwards RBI single, but that's it. Beth Serena was out for a moment to talk to Don Brown, the plate umpire. Jaden Heavner keeps going. Looking for a clean inning here to keep it a 3-run game as her teammates will come to the plate in the bottom of the 7th. Young with the bunt. Heavner fields it. Great play. 1 down.
We mentioned it earlier, Eric, that Jaden Heavner is very good at fielding her position. She comes out of the circle very quickly. A really strong throw over to first base. And how about that stretch by Tori Edwards, having to get back to the base, reaches out, snags it just in time to get Jenna Young.
On the field is that the runner is out at first base. Alabama's challenging the ruling on the field. The play's now under further review.
It's the first challenge for either team tonight. You're allowed 2 a game, and if you're successful, you keep it. So I think Patrick Murphy says, why not? First looked like they got the call right, Madison.
Yeah, I thought she was out by about a half a step even. Now you're looking for a couple of things here. One, when does Tori Edwards catch the ball? You're going to see that glove start to close around that softball, and is her foot still on the base? In my opinion, both of those boxes are checked, and that should stay an out.
Replay center in Pittsburgh, eyes on it right now. They'll make the decision and relay it to our field crew. Looks like Mike Bartling got it right at first, but we'll wait for the official announcement. While they review it in Pittsburgh, the teams can huddle up here a little bit, but it's a pretty quick review. They're jogging back out, and we'll get the announcement from Chris Neighbors.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The runner is out at first base. This is Alabama's first challenge. They have 1 remaining.
I'm with you, though, Eric. Top of the 7th inning, you're trying to get the leadoff runner on board to get some insurance runs. Maybe you take a chance and you go ahead and challenge it, but that was just a well-executed and a well-defended play by this LSU defense.
Here's Brooke Wells looking for her first hit of the Super. 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts against Heavner today. And takes strike 1. Wells entered play today, hitting .388 with a team best 23 home runs, 65 runs batted in. She's dangerous, but she hasn't had an answer for Heavner or LSU pitching in this Super.
And Heavner just keeps moving her pitches around to Brooke Wells. You're not going to see the same pitch in back-to-back locations, one after the other. She's been mixing the curveball away. Also, she's going to throw that rise ball up and away. And every once in a while, she'll bring those pitches on the inner half to Brooke Wells.
Called strike 3. 2 down.
Third strikeout of the night for Brooke Wells against Jaden Heavner. 2 of them were looking, both of them on those backdoor curveballs that just catch the outside part of the plate.
Heavner had that stretch of time in the 3rd inning into the 4th inning where she was fighting with the humidity, trying to get a good grip on the softball through wild pitches that allowed White to score, and then was hit by Papillo and Vandegrift, Taylor, and Hawkins. But outside of that, she's been really, really good against Alabama, keeping LSU in this game against the #1 overall national seed.
And that's where it's so important as an offense when you have opportunities to capitalize, but you've got to give a lot of credit to Jaden Heavner and the job that she's done. When you look at just her line, as we've mentioned a couple of times, a few rain delays and lightning delays thrown in there as well. And she's still coming out, she's still fighting, that velocity's still up there, 67 miles per hour, moving her pitches all through the zone, dealing with the humidity, making nice defensive plays as well. When we were looking at the film coming into this series, I think that she is very, very difficult to hit against just because of her deception and the way that she almost hides the softball.
Papillo with a solid single to right with 2 down, her 2nd hit of the game. Two for 4 tonight. 7 for 18 in the NCAA tournament.
Just feels like Papillo's in one of those zones where the softball probably looks about the size of the beach ball coming into her right now. Doesn't matter if you throw the off speed, the rise ball, the curve ball, she is just going to go after it, and she is going to hit it with authority.
Here's the first plate appearance for Larissa Pruitt, who ran for Roman in the 6th. Alabama native playing perhaps her final home game here at Rhodes Stadium. Takes strike 1. She would like for it to be her final home game here at the Rhodes House. That means Alabama wins.
I was gonna say, that sounds kind of funny to say, right?
Yes. You don't want a game tomorrow if you're Alabama. LSU, nothing would be better. 0-1. Pruitt lifts a fly ball to right. Franklin drifting towards the line, and she's got it, and that will do it for Alabama. To the bottom of the 7th we go. Last chance for LSU, down by 3, facing elimination.
We knew coming into this Super Regional that Alabama has one of the best 1-2 punches in the circle, and we've seen it all in today's game. Vic Moten, the freshman, with the start today against LSU, and then after a few rain delays, it's Jocelyn Brisky coming in relief, but the 2 of them have combined for 10 strikeouts against this LSU offense. And now Jocelyn Brisky is out there in the circle looking to close it out. This is a team that is 3 outs away from making it back to Oklahoma City.
Alabama has outscored their opponents 31-1, 5 games in to their 2026 NCAA tournament run. Can Avery Hodge and LSU mount a comeback here? They are the home team in game 2. Can they walk it off here in the 7th against Brisky? Hodge 1 for 2 tonight. Strike 1. Jocelyn Brisky came on to start the 5th inning out of a 2-hour and 23-minute weather delay. She's picked up 3 strikeouts in her 2 innings of work, giving her 14 in the 2 games of the Super Regional. Hodge, third base, Taylor on the run, close one in time. Challenge will certainly come from LSU. And we'll have a video review here initiated by the Tigers.
The ruling on the field is that the runner is out at first base. LSU is challenging the ruling on the field. Plays under further review.
Abby Dukeshire is the new first baseman. Abby is a tall kid with a long reach. She's going to be playing basketball in North Dakota in the fall as a grad transfer, so she's using some of that length to get the out at first, it would appear.
And I think on that play, she needed every single inch of her reach in that glove to be able to get that out. Watching it live, I thought with as high as that hop was, that there was going to be no way that Ambry Taylor was going to be able to get Avery Hodge out at first base. And as we're watching these replays, I think she gets her. Again, you're looking for that glove closing around the ball. Is Dukeshire's foot still on the base? And to me, it looks like she's out. Great throw on the run, too, by Ambry Taylor, knowing she did not have time to set her feet. You just had to get rid of it to even give yourself a chance at first.
She threw a strike with something on it to get it over to Dukeshire at first. So it's being reviewed by Pittsburgh right now. From our looks, it looks like the call will be confirmed, but we'll wait for the official call. For the moment, 1 down here in the 7th inning. Field umpires are taking off the headset, jogging back to the dirt. Actually sprinting back, Chris Neighbors, ready to make this call.
After further review, the play is confirmed. The runner's out at first base. LSU's first challenge. They have 1 remaining.
Never fails. As soon as you get put into the ball game, you know that the ball is going to make its way to you at some point. We saw a fly ball go out to Larissa Pruitt in the last inning, and Abby Dukeshire having to stretch to get that out over at first.
Here's one of the LSU seniors, Jayla Lassiter. Solid single in the gap. Moving over is Johnson. Digging for second with a 1-out double is Jayla Lassiter.
It's another double in back-to-back days for Jayla Lassiter against Jocelyn Brisky. Yesterday, all the way back in the first inning, it was a double on a rise ball. This, to me, Eric, is exactly what I mean by taking chances. She goes up there, and she's sitting changeup first pitch of the at-bat. She gets one, and she hammers it out into that gap to try to get a little life back into this LSU offense.
First hit today for Lassiter, second of the Super. 5th of the NCAA tournament. Strike 1 to Sierra Daniel. 1 for 3 today. Second time through the lineup for LSU against Brisky since she came on in the 5th. 1-1.
Typically, too, the more batters face a pitcher, especially going back to yesterday, kind of a quick turnaround too. All of those at-bats, I guarantee, are very fresh in their minds. You'd start to see the momentum swinging towards the hitter because they have more and more looks at the pitcher out there in the circle.
Daniel did put the ball in play 3 times against Brisky. 3 flyouts yesterday.
Had that base hit to right, too, back in the 5th inning against Brisky.
Got a piece. One of only 2 Tigers who didn't have at least 1 strikeout against Brisky yesterday. Counts now 2-2 to Sierra Daniel.
Those 3 fly ball outs, I feel like she's been staying away to Sierra Daniel. Maybe try to pump in one of those drop balls low and in.
D'Angelo can't sit still right now, which is normally the case. Another 2-2. Pulls the string, gets the strikeout. 2 down for Bama in the 7th.
It's the perfect location for this changeup, right at the knees, and you see that 12-6 rotation that she's even able to get on that changeup out of the hand. It looks like it's going to be that 70-mile-per-hour drop ball, and instead she's bringing it into the mid-50s for another strikeout this weekend for Brisky.
Alabama 1 out away from OKC. Ball 1 to Kylie Edwards. Edwards 1 for 3 today, singled in the first, was robbed of a hit in the third, lined out in the fifth. One and one. Swung on and missed. For the 16th time, Alabama is going to the Women's College World Series.
It might have taken a little extra time today, but it doesn't mean that this moment is any less sweet for this Alabama Crimson Tide team. It took every single person on this roster to be able to come away with these wins against a very tough LSU team. We saw them perform out there in the circle between Vic Moten and Jocelyn Brisky. The clutch, timely pieces of hitting top to bottom, the relentless offensive approach. It took everybody.
Took a little extra. Jocelyn Brisky gave a lot yesterday, and then she came on for the final 3 innings to pick up the save in support of freshman Vic Moten, who got the win, and Vic's got the headset on right now. Thanks for delaying the extra celebration, Vic.
It's okay.
All right, perfect. Congratulations.